Light and peace. Peace and light, brothers and sisters. Topic of discussion today is conclusion on the Kemetic belief system. In my last video, I decoded how the Kemetic belief system that a lot of people are following today, or should I say brothers and sisters who seem to be promoting this system, that it was no longer potent, and the angel behind it, who happens to be Osiris, was captured and banished from the planet. So if the belief system, if the person who's in charge of the belief system is no longer, who he has no hold in heaven, what is the point of we following the system in our world? It defeats the purpose. Today is just to give a final conclusion, because I had found out from two different sources saying that, what happened to the Pharaoh? Didn't the Pharaoh go to heaven and go meet Osiris? And I said, yeah, but the Pharaoh was enslaved. Okay, so in this video, I'm just going to do a final conclusion. Two things I want to draw out from the concluding on this topic, on this belief system about the Ma'at, is that Osiris is a liar. So he says, thou shalt not, he gave the Ma'at law saying, thou shalt not lie, but he lied. Also, he taught reincarnation to the people, to the Kemetic followers. So what is the point of you teaching reincarnation if I am supposed to come to heaven and sit and have a blissful everlasting life with you, or in your heaven? Why teach me reincarnation? So in this topic, in this video today, I'm just going to break everything down and show you clearly. So in the book of Words, chapter 50, verse 34, verse 35, verse 36, 37, 38, and 39 says, verse 34, Thotman here is the pharaoh that Osiris used to build his pyramid. Okay, and another thing about Osiris was that he gave the Ma'at law, thou shalt not kill, but he killed the parents of Thotman. He killed the parents of the Pharaoh. So you see, so there's three things against Osiris. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, and what is the point of giving reincarnation to the people if they're supposed to come to your heaven and live everlasting life? I'm going to continue. Thotman was a wise and even in his belief system. From when he was growing old, seeing his flesh sucking, his eyes glowing hollow and dim, his hands getting withered, he inquired of the God, saying, I know you have taught me truth, O God. As to judgment, I am weak before you, and curious in my vanity. Osiris said, speak, O king. So here is Thotman, who is the Pharaoh, who is like, he's getting old now. So, and then he's seeing his flesh getting weak and getting wrinkled up. And he's now saying, wait a minute, what's going on? You had promised me everlasting life. Verse 35, Thotman said, by all the force of my will and by my great learning, I cannot stop the weakening of the flesh. If therefore I already dry up like a mummy beyond the power of my will, how will it be with me when I'm further emancipated? You see that? This Pharaoh is not asking questions. Thotman is asking them questions. Hey, Osiris, what's going on here? I'm growing old and I can clearly see my flesh getting wrinkled up. I'm not looking any younger. I'm not looking when I used to be a young Pharaoh. What's going on? Talk to me here. Verse 36, Satan promised Osiris to answer the king. Now, just to be clear, Satan here is just the entity that speaks to Osiris. So it's no different like if I want to make a decision about, let's say I need to go to college, for example, and I have two colleges to choose. One part of me will say, go to college 7. The other one will say, nah, go to college of pharmacy. Don't go to college of engineering. You see what I'm saying? So I got that debate in between my soul, in between my spirit. That's the same thing here. Verse 36. Satan prompted Osiris to answer the king. So he said, until you are even more imperturbated, you cannot understand the power of your own soul. You see now, Osiris now lying to the king. With this, the king was reconciled, and even when he was thoroughly on the last legs, he began to build a new palace, saying, after I have changed this flesh into immortal flesh. You see now, Osiris taught him immortality, everlasting life, that he's going to come and get reincarnated. Now, he's teaching him reincarnation, which is falsehood, which makes no sense. What sense does this make? If I'm supposed to go to your heaven and live everlasting life, why are you now teaching me reincarnation in human flesh? You see the lies of Osiris? With this king, verse 37, with this king was reconciled, and even when he was tortured on his last leg, he began to build a new palace, saying, after that I have changed this flesh into immortal flesh, I will come and dwell forever. I shall be surrounded by adepts, wise and faultless, and this shall be the first colony of the kind I will build on earth. Verse 38. But afterward I build many colonies, like 8 more and more of them, until I have all the earth redeemed to immortal flesh. For such shall be the kingdom of all men, and all women on earth shall own me, Lord of all. Verse 39. Here's where I'm going. Nevertheless, with all Thothman's wisdom of his gods, he fell on a stone and died suddenly on the day he was 100 years old. Here you have it. Here is a pharaoh who devoted his time, his soul and spirit to Osiris. Osiris taught him everything he knew, and he was growing old, and he wanted everlasting life in human flesh. And instead of Osiris to tell him that such doesn't exist, Osiris knows this doesn't exist, okay? Osiris lied to him now, because in the next chapter, I'm going to clear this up. Osiris lied to him. Instead of Osiris to tell him that, such doesn't exist, instead, Osiris instructed the Pharaoh, just to be clear, to build a temple of Osiris, which people know today as the Great Pyramid. And he lied that this is the key of everlasting life. First, he says, thou shalt not lie. He lied. Then he lied to the people that he did not tell the people that he was Isis. Isis and Osiris is the same thing. Then now, he's now teaching the people reincarnation. He's teaching the followers. Because Osiris, Thothman, who happens to be the Pharaoh, the king, he's going to teach this to the people again. So this is more confusion, more lies that Osiris was teaching. And if you look at the Mayate law, in one of these Mayate law, you're not supposed to do any of this. But yet you have your God who brought Mayate rules and regulation, and he's teaching it to the people. And he even gave it to the Pharaoh. Now, verse 39 says, nevertheless, with all Thothman's wisdom and wisdom of his God, he fell on a stone and died. And suddenly on the day he was 100 years old, Thothman died. Here you have it. The king died. And in the next chapter, I'm going to show you what happened to his spirit. So if Thothman was supposed to go into heaven and live everlasting and live a blissful life, then the book of Wars, chapter 51, verse 7, 8, and 10 will not say this, right? Verse 7, as to the spirit of Thothman, that's the Pharaoh who just died, in book of Wars, chapter 50, verse 39 now. And as to the spirit of Thothman, at the time of death, it was taken to Aguandin and put among the servants of Osiris' heavenly kingdom, and thus enslaved. You see that? They enslaved them. Here's your reward. That's your reward of those who follow the Mayate law. This is why I wanted to do this video, giving a proper conclusion, a summary of what happened to the Kemetic believers. Because the Pharaoh followed him from A to Z. As to the spirit of Thothman, at the time of death, it was taken to Agborangin aggrandized and put among servants of Osiris' heavenly kingdom, thus enslaved. So Azion become king of Egypt. Yes, another king that people now started believing this was totally reincarnated, but I'm not going to get to that storyline. You can go read the OahspeCollegeUniversity, the Book of Wars, and get the full gist of it. Verse 8. Now regarding the false god Osiris and his confederates, they never tried to reincarnate the spirit of Thothman. You see that? Meanwhile, he taught him reincarnation. But because of virtues and wisdom of Thothman, they used them for the benefit of Osiris' heavenly kingdom to establish Osiris everlasting on earth as to all highest God. You see? So they enslaved Thothman and started using Thothman to build and to make his heaven the highest heaven. Now, yeah, it's so funny. So now here you have it. You have Osiris lied to the people about reincarnation, and he's telling them that, his heaven is all highest. So if your heaven is all highest, this should not happen in verse 10, 11, 12, and 13. So I'm leading to something. Here's the result of you Kemetic brothers and sisters that follow the Kemetic rules and regulations. One, you'll be enslaved in heaven. Then when you don't want to accept the enslavement, then you're going to run back to our world as a reincarnator, because Osiris taught you that anyway, right? So here's verse 10. But woe came to them. You see, this is the land of Egypt. The land became flooded with hundreds of millions of drudges. And as to the people of Egypt, the chief desire was to be able to return in spirit after death and dwell with mortals. And these things which follow are not even lawful to mention. You see that? So as soon as all these Kemetic followers die, Osirians, as soon as all these Osirian religion believers, these Osirians die, they come back. They come back after the spirit die, and they grab themselves on mortals. Now, guess verse 10, right? Here's a question. If Osiris' heaven is blissful and a place of delight, why then are the spirits returning to our world after? Here's a question for the believers, the so-called spirits, the so-called brothers and sisters who follow these people that follow this Kemetic belief system. Why is the spirits of the dead returning back to our world? Here's a question for you guys. Verse 11. Suffice to it to say that this spirit lost all sight of any higher heaven than dwell on the earth, and they knew no other. And they watched for the times when children were born. You see that? And observed them, driving away the natural spirit, growing up in the new body of the newborn, calling themselves reincarnated. Yeah, that's your result of following the Kemetic rules and regulations. That's your result of following the Kemetic belief system. Because when you get to heaven, you don't want to get enslaved like Thothman, like the king. So you come back. And these Druids profess that they were previously lived on earth. They were great kings and queens and philosophers. Verse 12. And they taught as their master, you see that? Osiris did. That there were no higher heaven than here on earth. That the man must be reincarnated over and over until the flesh become immortal. You see that? Not all of these spirits drove away the natural spirit, but merely engrafted themselves on the same body. While such spirit lived, this spirit lived with them and dwelt with them day and night, not knowing more than their mortal companion. And when such a person died, behold, the Druid went and engrafted himself on another child and lived and dwelt with it with the same way, thus continuing generation after generation. This is so sad. So Osiris lied to the people by telling them that, you can reincarnate, and one of your way of reincarnation is for you to keep on living from one generation to the other, and then your soul will now become immortal. So what is the point of Osiris sitting on the judgment throne on the Mayat pictograph, on the Mayat diagram? It's pointless. So that's a lie. Again, Osiris is a liar. Your God, the God of the Kemetic belief system, is a liar. Point blank. Verse 18. And because of these injustices, many of these spirits came in sagas, that's human form, in families of which Egyptians, eating and drinking with them, corporally. So here you have it. You see? So now the Osirians who follow Osiris while alive, when they went to heaven, they came back. Now verse 13 is saying they now came to humans, then they start forming families. You know, we cannot even mention what happened here. I mean, clearly you could tell they created families. They started eating and drinking with them temporarily, even doing this thing which no man may speak of. You guys know what this is, right? So I don't even want to mention it. By which desires, diseases seized up upon the flesh of mortals, and their blood and their flesh become inhabited with vermin. These people became idlers and vagrants. The land were not tilled. The place of learning become deserted ruins. So we learn here from verse 11, 12, or 13 that the result of the Kemetic system founded by Osiris, which shows with his followers that entered the Osiris, they return back to Egypt, dwelling among humans all over again. So what have we learned here, brothers and sisters? Osiris, right? One, it says, thou shalt not lie. He lied, okay? He's a liar. So you have a God who touched and lied. Osiris did not tell the people that he is even Isis. He lied about that. Isis and Osiris are the same thing. Then he told the Pharaoh, Thutmose, to build a temple of Osiris, which people call the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. And then he told Thutmose that this was the key of everlasting life. But when Thutmose died, the guy could not reincarnate back. You see that? They even enslaved him in heaven, right? Then, oh boy, Osiris also taught reincarnation, which is falsehood. You cannot reincarnate back. Even if you reincarnate back, you're just engrafting yourself. You're attaching yourself to that spirit. That's not reincarnating. Okay? And then another amazing thing is that, which the Kemetic followers don't know, is that Osiris said to the people in the book of Words chapter 36 that, you know, that Baal, right? Baal was his son. He said Baal was his own son, was the ruler of earth, and he had a daughter by the name of Ashtaroth. You see that? So Baal was also doing what they call that Trinity thing. He said Baal was his son and Ashtaroth was his daughter. You see? And in the book of Wars, chapter 44, Osiris now also declared himself a godhead. And by doing a godhead, he said he was three persons. He said he was the fountain of the universe. Right? And then he said Baal, right, was his begotten son. Right? And then he said Ashtaroth was his virgin daughter. This is, you know, and he said his virgin daughter, which is Ashtaroth, is the one that assigned life and death, that she giveth the power of begetting and the power to cause death with mortals. This is insane, right? So, and I can guarantee you, when you ask all this so-called Kemetic belief system, these brothers and sisters who follow these ways of life, they don't know this. And if they know it, they're being portrayed by a different entity, not knowing that this is actually Ashtaroth, Baal, and Isis is Osiris. Not knowing that. So just to be clear, in every heaven that have a godhead or someone proposing to be a god or posing to be a god, is an angel, okay? And that angel has a name. The amazing, wonderful thing about the OahspeCollegeUniversity is that it renders the name of the angels. Just like we have the President of America. Who is this president? The president is human, and that president has a name. Today, we're in the year of 2022. The President of America's name is Joe Biden. Why did Osiris not give his name? His true name. Osiris is a title. Osiris is a title. Osiris did not give the names of the angels behind it. But we have in OahspeCollegeUniversity recorded the angels behind all this so-called Kemetic Mayata belief system. It was Osiris, Baal, and Ashtaroth. Okay? Light and peace, brothers and sisters. Bye-bye now. This was just to conclude and add to the original video I did about the Kemetic belief system decoded. This is just a conclusion showing you that Osiris also lied about reincarnation. He gave reincarnation to the people, and Egypt got flooded by reincarnation.